Hi, guys. My name is Shannon Bennett, and I survived an oilfield accident, and this is my story. So he did not adapt well to the change at all, because it's like you think I'm going to get out of the hospital and things are going to go right back, and it was like, well, I still had a lot of surgeries, and the rehab was so long, and that's one of the reasons they don't do induced comas for so long. You know, my doctor I had at the time, he just thought it was inhumane to have somebody awake for all those surgeries. So by the time I woke up, all my skin grafts were done. They were all done. I still had open wounds, but yeah, so the transition was still just fighting to get back my independence. So yeah, and I don't feel like the family treated me any different. I was on still so many medications when I was discharged that, yeah.
You said he's your ex-husband now.
Yes.
What kind of caused that separation between you guys?
His alcoholism. Yeah, his alcoholism after my injury got far worse. He had a lot of guilt because he wasn't on location. So with this building, I had to climb in the building to relight it, to relight the pilot light because I'm shorter. My arms are shorter. And I couldn't relight it from the outside because my face would be right in front of the chamber. So I would have to climb in to relight it. To whereas if he did it, he could do it from the outside because he was 6'3", so he was tall enough. So he had a lot of guilt about that. And so what we learned later is the building was a fully enclosed wood framed building, which is not something they do on oil field locations. So that in itself created the hazard. The wood framed, all the fumes over the years building up. And there was, in one of the depositions, there was a fellow with another work crew, and he said it wasn't a matter of if it was going to happen, but when it was going to happen. So, and it just so happened with me, we never thought it was a danger. You know, the owners of the location never thought that. So with me, I was inside the building. And so then that's what whereas if he would have been outside, it wouldn't have been. Anyway, so he had kind of a drinking problem before, and looking back, he was already an alcoholic. So that just, it made it worse, and he just got worse, and and he never learned how to deal with loss. And that's all a burn injury is loss after loss of freedom, loss of limbs, loss of life, there's so much loss that if you don't have that ability and wherewithal to deal with that grief, it's just like somebody did an analogy once. It's like holding a beach ball down. You can hold it down and you can hold it down, but eventually it's going to come up. And the grief process is such you get through it, you get all the way over to acceptance, and then you shoot back, so and he just never learned how to do that. So that's what he did. He stuffed it with alcohol and he got worse and worse and worse, progressively worse, and got toxic. It was already toxic, but I didn't learn that until after I was divorced. So yeah, there was a whole different component there. We got together. I was 17 when we got together. So I hadn't even finished growing up.
You were very young.
And yeah, come to find out, like, after us being separated, he ended up going to prison for 2.5 years. He was in a drunk driving incident. So in those 2.5 years, I started going to Al-Anon. I started healing. And so I started learning, like, oh, this isn't normal. This isn't normal behavior. So we were still married at the time, but things changed drastically from that. And let me see, that was probably 4 or 5 years after my injury. That started transitioning into me figuring things out. And, with the support group because when I was inpatient, my family was exposed to the burn support group. My mom and my aunts, my side of the family. And so they really, embraced it. So then when I woke up, I really just kind of bounced on that. Sorry. I just like, "Brr." But when I woke up, I had a survivor. I call him my survivor. He's my survivor. He came to visit me in the ICU floor, which I don't remember that. But he came again when I was on the rehab floor. And, I was pretty like, I got this handled. I don't need help. No, I don't need the psychologist coming in. Like, I'm good. It's something horrible that happened. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I don't need help. But my family had already been to burn support group a couple times and met fabulous people, right? And so I'd just done rehab, I think. They had me in the chair. I think they probably all worked together. Now looking back, thinking about it, it was probably like a collaboration, like, we're gonna gang up on her. So I was already in the wheelchair, gowned up, gloved up, because I was precautionary, had the MRSA, and they had the burn support group. And I was like, oh, I'm not really feeling it, feel a little sick. And my family's like, well, too bad. You're already in the chair and gowned up. We're going. I was like, son of a bitch, it's fine. And I'm not, I'm more of a passive, okay, go along with it kind of person in most cases. So that we go to the burn support group and yeah, it was good. I didn't share much, I just sat and pretty much absorbed. Same with the second one. I absorbed and absorbed. And then eventually I'd speak a little bit, and now look at me, So yeah, I got hijacked to my first burn support group. Yep.
And now you're a mentor
Yep.
for them.
Now I'm a mentor. Yeah.
What was the biggest, like after you processed everything and stuff, what are the biggest losses that came from this that you were just like, oh man, like that came up for you, like, dang, I had to like deal with that. Like what are
Losses from my injury?
Yeah, like what were you grieving the most?
I think physically, I was in physically good shape. 2 weeks before my injury, we picked up I picked up my son and I went and picked up hay bales out of the field for my horses. So we had the truck and then we had the horse trailer that we loaded up, and he's 10. So, he'd roll the bales to the truck and I'd heave them in there, and then I had to get him weighed. I weighed him at the scales, and they weighed out at 85-pound bales. So, I was physically fit when that happened. Like I was strong. I had muscles. I was, and I remember, I mean, there's so many of them, but I remember seeing my arms and they had the tinsel flex on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they look like little sixth graders' arms. What happened there? Like all my muscles were gone. And it was devastating to me. And the not moving and not being able to wipe my own butt. Yeah, that was that loss of independence. It's like, which kind of, I mean, it's all devastating, not being able to eat and stuff. But physically, that and my loss of freedom and just my physical ability to. And now what and it doesn't bother me so much as it's annoying, is my physical ability to be able to do a good workout as a normal,
How do you work out now?
So we used to do CrossFit, me and my neighbor, friend down the road. And they closed the gym up a few years ago. So then I turned my tack room that's on my barn. We turned it into the gym. So, and we still did CrossFit, but then we kind of transitioned into mind muscle connection. But the no range of motion. My squats are like, an unfit 80-year-olds. They're just. It's just sad because I'm like, I can't even put the bar behind my head. I modify a lot of moves, which is like, can I just be normal and do them normally? But no, I do pull-ups, but I'll rack the bar and I'll do it from a seated position. So if I lose grip, I don't have far to go. But yeah, it's just, I think the loss of that.
Yeah. Just being able
My,
to move and
yeah,
function and be physically
yeah,
where you were.
yeah,
Do you believe in a God?
yes.
What is your take on spirituality or religion?
What do you mean?
What do you believe in? Do you believe there's one God?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you Christian? Are you
No, so I believe in
Buddhist?
Jehovah. So yeah, he's my God.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jehovah.
one God.
Gotcha.
Jehovah, Jesus, Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Did he get you through?
Yes, definitely. So I was baptized uh the year before I was burned. I think October. So when I woke up, that I was trying to remember the Lord's Prayer and I couldn't remember it to save my life. I'm like, I can't remember it, So my mom had what's the guy, the chaplain come in and say a prayer, So yeah, I definitely for sure I believe in a higher power. And yeah, he gave me the strength for sure. I mean, there's no way with that and the losses that I've had since then, for sure. I wouldn't be here without having that core belief and having that, the spirituality for sure.
Yeah.
I study with Jehovah Witnesses right now because they dig into the Bible. But there's no one religion that I'm like, "Oh, that's the one." Because they all have one things that they believe in that I don't jive with. So, do I make my own religion up? No, but that one with the witnesses, like I can study the Bible, but like they don't believe in the blood transfusions and stuff. And I'm like, for me to get in alignment with that, I got to believe I wasn't meant to survive. Because had I had that belief, they replaced my blood 60 times over, or 20 or 60 at that point. Does it matter? Like they replaced it a lot. Like I think it was, I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom, but my blood was replaced 20 times over so there's certain things I can't get in line with, but yeah, that's what I study.